What's up guys, Drew here. Welcome back to Starting Out Solitary. It's week 231 and today we are discussing regional magic. This is not a topic that I have a whole lot of pertinent information about. I mean, obviously I am aware that there's regional magic. There are traditions and practices from all over the world, but even here in the United States, the first thing that comes to mind when I hear regional magic is Appalachian folk magic, which is not something I know anything about. I don't typically seek out traditions or practices and learn about them. I'm just not drawn to do so. And even the few times that I've made a tentative attempt, I found it really boring. It just doesn't interest me. It's not my path to be part of a specific tradition or practice, I don't guess. Having said that, I am going to do my best to navigate the topic, even though I don't really have any specific pertinent information. Regional magic. I think the idea of regional magic is actually pretty interesting. And I think that even if it's not like an established tradition, that we all probably practice regional magic to an extent. What I mean by that is, for instance, I live on the coast. So even though I'm not a water witch, I'm not a sea witch at all, I have worked with the ocean many times in my magic and in spiritual practices and exercises and what have you. I also live basically smack dab in the middle of the Croatan National Forest. So not only am I a hop, skip, and a jump from the beach, I can just walk into the woods, basically. Even though I live in a neighborhood, like we're still surrounded by the Croatan. And so that also plays a huge role in my magic. If I lived in Arizona, I'm sure that I would do a lot of things that are more desert related in my magic. This is what I mean by the fact that each of us probably does regional magic in our own way, even if it isn't like a set tradition or practice that's established already in the wider community per se. So I think the topic of regional magic is kind of layered and fluid. It's not such a set thing. For me, pine trees are pervasive where I live, and pine is a pretty integral, important tree in my personal practice. Even if I don't use a whole lot of pine in my magic, spiritually speaking, it has a huge significance in my practice and in my path. Again, the ocean. I love to do very powerful cleansing rituals at the ocean. And there's nothing like doing an espit ritual on the beach in the middle of the night. It's wonderful. Although I greatly enjoy doing Sabbath rituals out in the woods. Another thing that I guess can fall under this category to an extent would be snow. Snow can be somewhat anomalous where I live. We've had it the past couple of years, but we could go 8 years without snow. I live on the coast, the southern eastern coast of the United States. So, you know, I can drive an hour inland and they get snow every year. But where I live, we don't necessarily get snow. My ability to do workings with snow or snow water or something of that nature is greatly impacted by my region. Of course, the plants, the flora and fauna that I am able to go out and harvest in the wild are dependent on the region. And if I were solely dependent on that, that would greatly affect my magic and how I worked, what I worked with. Of course, we're living in the modern era and all I have to do is order online if I want something that I can't get easily. But I still think that regional plant life falls into this category. So for example, the three things that first pop to my mind personally when I think of wild harvesting, wild crafting, is blackberry bramble, grows everywhere in the Croatan. Cedar bark that falls off the trees out in the Croatan. And then wild thistle grows all over the sides of the road in the summertime here. So I don't need to buy any of those things. There are, of course, other things, but those are just the first three things. Those are the things, they are my go-tos that I always have on hand and that I always go out and get when needed. I'm not exactly sure where I was meant to go with this topic, but this is where my brain went. So there you have it. As always, guys, thanks for watching. And until next time, much love and gratitude.